What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC Voodoo. I took this FMS Jimny to USTE this year, and it got a lot of attention. I was a finalist in the competition. FMS noticed it, took some pictures of it, give me a shout out on their social media, and since then I've had a lot of questions about, well, everything from the paint to the suspension to the tires. First of all, let's start off with the color. This is exactly what I use. This is Krylon Color Max. It is satin sea glass. And when you're painting these, make sure you get the paint that says it's for plastic. That way, and I scuffed it up with a Scotch-Brite beforehand, wiped it down really good, washed it with water, and made sure it was completely dry. And then this one can done the whole thing. It was completely disassembled to paint. So it's underside, under the hood, everything's painted, and there's still probably a quarter can left. So one can should be fine. And when you're doing clear coat, always get the same brand. So if you're using Krylon to paint, use Krylon clear coat, and if you're using, Rust-Oleum, whatever, try to get the clear to match what you're using. That way there's no crazy funky gas off weirdness going on. But what I do is I put on a light coat, a medium coat, and then a wet coat of color. And before this completely dried, I'll put on my my clear. So you don't want your color to completely dry, the outside dry first, and then you clear over it. What that does will cause wrinkles. It'll start drying on the outside and pulling from your base coat, and that's what causes wrinkles. So put your clear on like it was another coat of color, and let it all gas off and dry together, or you're going to run into some major issues. So, okay, to start with, first thing you do is, let me turn it around to the back side here, get some light in here. The leaf spring shackles. Now when you get these, the shackles are on the bottom, and that the leaf springs, everything go under the axle. So that gives you very limited flex and suspension. So what you do is you take the shackles off the bottom, put them up on top, take your U-joint or U-bolts, and then put them back up through, and put the nuts back on. Trying to get some light in here. So the first thing you need to do is flip the axles to the bottom of the shackles, and on the shock mount here, you can see the rear shock is at an angle. Well, let me get the wheel off so I can show you better. Okay, I got the wheel off. You can see this, the top bracket here. This mounting point was in the rear. So basically, I just flip this top plate to where the mounting point is up here, and that will put this at an angle, and that will give it room to compress. Because if it's back here in its normal position and you put your shock on, then it's already fully compressed, just spanning the distance, so it has no movement. So that's the reason this shock is at an angle, which this is an empty tube. You know, there's nothing in there. So that is, and also remove the helper springs in the back, or the helper leaves, to make it a little more, give it a little more flex and less stiff. These are RC four-wheel drive rims, Canyon Trails. Yeah, Canyon Trails. So toward the front, Let me get the wheel back on here. Okay. In the front, we do the same thing. We put the shackles on top. The only difference is I took the front shock absorbers completely off, because to slant them at an angle was going to mess with the steering rod. So, and since they're for looks anyway, I just took them off. And one issue that you run into is when you lower the axles that far down, that puts your servo and steering arm at a pretty steep angle. Okay, I got the front wheel off here so we can see what's going on. Now, from the factory, these come with the servo coming down through the top, but that when you put the axles on the underside of the leaf springs here, that causes this to be at a really bad angle. See, it's not completely horizontal now, but like it was big time angle down, and like the axle sway when you turn was just insane. So to fix that, you can see the servo's barely sticking up out of there now because it's coming up through the bottom instead of down through the top. Now, there was just a little bit of trimming I had to do to get the cord to slide through, because it was designed to come down from the top. So when you go up through the bottom, you have to have clearance. So there's a little bit of trimming in the front and get the cable to slide through, and then you're good to go. So I have a ball-end spacer right here in the middle that raises this arm up, and like maybe a, I don't know, 3 to 5 millimeter spacer right there between the arm and the servo horn to lower this one down, and that gets it more horizontal or parallel. So that's just remember, if you drop your axles down, you're going to have to also drop the servo down, or get like insane amount of spacers and probably make it too weak, spaced out that much. And I did take all the helper springs off, or the helper leafs off, to give it more flex. I may put one back on. I'm starting to get a little deformation there. I'll put one of the helper leaves back on the front. Or just find a shock that will work to take some of the stress off of the axle there. Let me get the wheel back on. Okay, another thing I done was I moved the front axle forward just a little to give me steering clearance with the 2.2s here. Close, that's pretty close. So what you do when you take the axle off, you will see on the shackle bracket there's 3 little pegs that stick up. Basically clip off the first one, just snip it off and scoot the axle forward, so you're only using the back 2 pegs, and basically that will extend the axle maybe like that much. You'll see what I'm talking about if you do this. There's 3 little pegs. Yeah, you can never going to be able to see it on here, but there's 3 little pegs sticking up in the middle of the bracket, and you have to cut the first one off so you can slide them forward. Actually, I think you cut the back one off, so when you set it back down on, it's not in the way. You'll see, it's very simple to slide it forward. So that is pretty much it. Besides the wiring, you get headlights from the factory, you get headlights, and that's all you get. So the rest has buckets. The rest of the lights have buckets, but it's not wired. So run an amber to here, a red one to here, and in the back, same thing. So what I've done, get you over here. What I've done was wired them in and just brought them all over to one side, run them up as just in 2 sets. Got it to the front, tied into, I'm running 2 channels for the lights, 3 and 4. So instead of everything tied into the headlights that was already there, I just run the front parking lights and the side markers on the front and the tail lights on the rear. Ran them all up, put a plug on them, plugged them in. They come on when you turn on the RC, and they go off when you turn off the RC. There's no blinkers or backup lights or anything like that. It's basic light kit. I did cut the bumper. I didn't need to cut it that much. Let me turn this glare off. Another thing I done, I added a hood stop right there. Just 3D printed a little horseshoe piece. It comes with the prop, but not the stop. The Willys comes with the stop also. I'm not sure why this one didn't. And I changed out the ESC. I'm still running stock motor, stock everything besides ESC. I put in a Hobby Wing 1080. Still running stock receiver also. So yeah, that's like I was saying, you get front headlights, that's it. You got to wire the rest yourself. You can put in a light kit, whatever. I just run them straight. Cut the front bumper. I didn't need to cut it that much. I should have just trimmed it up, but I'm going to be changing this for the RC 4-wheel drive Blazer bumper because it's made at an angle. Comes up, it comes up like this, so you got plenty of clearance. That's the only thing. The only downside is you have to do a little bit of bumper modification. But that's pretty much all the mods that's been done to this. Nothing too crazy. Ooh. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Well, here's my finals thing I got from USTE. Until next time, guys, take care.